A very good afternoon to all my chartered accountants friends. We welcome you all for a very warm and a very energetic, joyful session on work versus life who deserve the spotlight. I am CA Priyamvada, Secretary of the Committee on Promoting Work-Life Balance. As we all are aware, since this is a new committee formed by ICAI under the leadership of our President, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda sir, as well as our Vice President, CA Prasanna Kumar P sir. And the committee is being led by our Chairman, CA Jayachera sir, as well as our Vice Chairman, CA Sridhar Mupalla sir. The objective of our committee is to focus on the physical and mental well-being of the stakeholders of ICAI. Work is important, professional excellence is important, but apart from that, our personal life, our values, our family life are equally important. We all have technical committees, many technical committees in ICAI, but yes, this committee is specially formed to look after the well-being of our chartered accountant. For this, the committee has been taking a lot of initiatives. For example, we are doing the daily virtual yoga session as well as alternate Zumba session. So any one of you can join at the click of the button. All the recordings are also available, as well as during the live sessions are also available in the morning. Apart from this, a regular webinars is being hosted. We have curated lot of webinars, the informational webinars as well as the webinars on the well-being. For example, the webinar was organized on the CPR benefits, where the chartered accountants were guided how to perform, how to do at the time of the emergency. So today, this session is a very special session where we want everyone to be light, everyone to enjoy this session. We have our special speaker, CA Dinesh Agarwal ji. Thank you, sir, for coming and sparing us time for this session. As well as we have the moderator of our session, CA Preeti Negi, a very seasoned moderator for the sessions. Thank you so much for coming out here and sparing time to both of you. So, not taking much time, I would request CA Preeti Negi to please continue with the session.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words and continued support to the committee. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, now we formally begin today's webinar on the very thought-provoking theme, Work versus Life, Who Deserve the Spotlight. This topic touches each one of us at a very personal level. As a chartered accountant, as a finance professional, we are trained to prioritize commitment, compliance, accuracy, timelines. Over the years, work naturally takes center stage in our lives. Yet, today's session invites us to pause and reflect. Are we giving equal importance to the life that enable us to perform at our best? This webinar is not about choosing work and life. It's about prioritizing harmony, sustainability, long-term life fulfillment in our professional journey. In next couple of hours, we will explore practical insights, real life experiences, thoughtful perspective that will help us to refine success and not just in terms of achievements, but in terms of the well-beings. For that, we have the speaker of the session. So we have the main session in today's webinar. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the speaker of the session, CA Dinesh Agarwal. CA Dinesh Agarwal ji is a chartered accountant and MBA with over 20 years of international experience across India, US, Dubai, and Hong Kong. He has held the leadership roles in global organizations and is a renowned international speaker at a major finance and tech forums worldwide. What makes him truly special and unique is the ability to blend finance, management, life lessons, and storytelling, often using Indian culture and cuisine as a metaphors, making learning deeply engaging and relatable. We have honor to have you, sir, today. Now I'd like to invite CA Dinesh Agarwal ji to take through his session, Work versus Life, Who Deserve the Spotlight.
All right. Thank you, Priya ma'am. And thank you, Preeti ma'am, for such lovely introduction. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to the committee as well. It's a fantastic vision from President sir and Jay sir and all the members to start this initiative on work-life balance. So thanks to everybody and all of you. Happy Friday, all the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls joining today's session. Happy Friday. And you know what I'm going to tell you in next 1.5 hours is sit back, relax. So let me start off by being your pilot today. Imagine you are in an aircraft. Of course, not an Indigo airline, but at some stage, yes. Imagine you're in an airline and I'm telling you this is an ICAI flight WLB. WLB stands for work-life balance, flying from life to work, and will again fly back from life, from work back to life. The total flight duration will be 1.5 hours. Generally, the weather will be fine. There will be couple of bumps in between. The weather will play the trick, and I want the weather to play the trick because couple of slides will give you goosebumps, and I want that to happen as we move along. So that's how we want to start. So let me share the presentation for today. And this is my opening slide, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'm going to tell you is, I'm not going to say anything rocket science today, by the way, huh? What we will do, and I repeat, what we will do, we will visit all our CA final subjects. I repeat, we will visit all our CA final subjects to understand if we can connect any aspect of work-life balance. And you will be amazed how much the 6 subjects of CA final teaches us on this journey. So this is my roughly this is my signature slide on any talk that I do globally, right? And what are we now? 3:08 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So let me get started with this first slide, which I said is my signature slide. And if anyone likes Hindi poetry, I'm sure all of you would know Sarveshwar Dayal Saxena ji and his famous poem. And this is something which he gives a relationship or some incidents which happened during independence. And this is how he starts off. And this is in Hindi. I'm translating it to in English. After getting shot at, I mean, there were 3 people getting shot at, and 3 people were shot at. They were murdered, and a post-mortem was done on those 3 people. This is a little serious conversation, and a post-mortem was done on these 3 people. And you know what happened in the post-mortem? The first man cried Ram. The first man cried Ram. The second man cried Ma. And because he came from somewhere, Assam or Northeast, the pronunciation became Mao. And the third man cried potato, which is Alu. So that's the post-mortem result of people who were actually hungry for 72 hours. I repeat, they were hungry for 72 hours, and the Britishers shoot them for no reason. And the post-mortem report says, first man Ram, second man Ma, third man potato. Gosh, what are we up to? What's the message from this? And the post-mortem report said the first 2 had their stomach full. And this is exactly what we say. Anything that we do in life will only come to its fulfillment and manifested version if our stomach is full. And so nicely it flows down to what Swami Vivekananda also said when he went to New York for that famous presentation. Spirituality cannot be taught on an empty stomach, right? You need to have your stomach full, and then you can get the ball rolling. And of course, one of our famous Bollywood star. I don't know if the message box is open, Preeti ma'am. If anybody wants to give a guess, who is that famous Bollywood star who said, "Don't become a philosopher before you become rich"? And I'm sure all of you will give me an answer of Shah Rukh Khan. Yeah, you're right. In the Oxford College, he said, never do things in life when your stomach is empty. First, take care of yourself, which also is a reflection of any aircraft. They say, no, first, put the mask before helping others. So we should all be helping ourselves first. Now, if we try to connect the dots, our intellectual and emotional capabilities truly come alive when we have eaten rather than we are hungry. So the moral of this slide is, I'm sure 3:11 p.m., a Friday afternoon, we are almost getting into the evening of a Friday. And so as I can call happy Friday to all of you, I'm sure all of you will have tea, coffee, and we can run about for another 1.5 hours in a very, very nice way. So this is the slide for me. Now, if you said, Dinesh, what is this slide? You have tried to connect a poem with Swami Vivekananda and Shah Rukh Khan. Doesn't make sense to us. What's the messaging from this slide? This slide actually builds me to today's session, which is work-life balance. This slide actually builds me to today's session. You know what it builds me? It builds me that it will always be one fundamental problem in life. There can never be more than one fundamental problem in life. All the other problems are essentially the derivative of one fundamental problem. I repeat, all the other problems are just derivative of one fundamental problem. And this slide tells me there is a very, and I'm sure if I ask all of you, which is the fundamental problem, poverty or education, we will have the crowd really divided. Somebody will say poverty, somebody will say education. But what this slide tells me is actually it's poverty. जब पेट में खाना नहीं हो ना तो फिर पढ़ाई सीए फाइनल समझ में नहीं आता. So this is the message, and all the other problems becomes a derivative. So this is my introductory slide for all of you. And now let's get into the journey. So the flight has literally taken off now. So this is wow. Wow. Let's get to this interesting one. We're talking about work-life balance. There is a saying in life, do we even recognize the problem? For the fact that ICI has chosen to have this committee is a fact that we are seeing a problem somewhere. But let's understand, before we try to understand any problem, we should look back into the history of any problem. Because if you do not understand the root cause and history, we cannot understand what led to an issue. Largely, before factories were set up, there will always work life balance, right? हमारे दादा परदादा, बहुत दादा परदादा खेती करने जाते थे. They were used to sell, and whatever left came home, बाजरे की रोटी, सरसों का साग and everything, eat peacefully, live a very nice life. That was before factory era. And then the industrial era started. The bosses started discovering the clock. The workers started discovering the protest, right? And this was the first friction. The revolt, the Indian independence revolt started in 1857. The first revolt, or the first inception of work-life disruption, or even the introduction of this concept, started in the industrial era, where, they said, my goodness, and those were all capital good industry, right? जहाँ पे बहुत physical work चाहिए. Now, when you need a lot of physical work, you need that physical rest as well, which is contrary to what we are doing. We are in IT setup. Preeti ma'am, me, Priya ma'am, we are all sitting in comfortably in an AC classroom. There is no physical tiredness. But of course, there is a mental tiredness which we all need to sort out as well. So that's the industrial era. Then we moved out to the 9 to 5 era. Balance means living office on time and feeling proud. I mean, that's an era which even I have lived, to be honest. By the way, if you leave the office by 5 o'clock in many companies, there's a common joke in many of the consulting firms, यार आज half day लेके घर जा रहा है क्या? So that is also a culture which we have lived. If you leave by 5 p.m., 6 p.m., they'll say, Acha, today you're taking half day off, enjoy life, but just record that you have taken half day off. So that has also been a thought process in many companies, and we have lived that era. We are an era of career grew, life was kept on hold. I mean, we like last 10 years, this has been the life we are living. I mean, we are all just going after the careers, rat race, rat race. I'm sure many of us who are listening me, we are in the rat race, and it's good to be in rat race. It's good to be in rat race. There is nothing wrong in rat race. We will also discover why it's good to be in rat race. And now, the last 3 months, digital age, offices moved into our pocket, even toilet breaks are got notification, isn't it? And then we have the post-COVID. Ying! Post-COVID, we started working from home. And the only industry which grew in COVID era is all this broking industries. All the broking companies, we started opening demat accounts, started trading, making a lot of money. And SEBI had to come out with a report saying 93% of the retailers lose money and only 7% started making profit. And today we are actually fighting. Balance means fighting with your phone, not with your boss. I repeat that. Balance actually means fighting with your phone, not with your boss. So this is how we have evolved as human beings. Imagine those days, I'm sure all of you would have studied geography and biology in your school. एक पहले बंदर होता था, right? Then a human evolution started. This is how we have evolved in our work-life balance journey. All right, so this is how it looks like. The slides are anyways with Priya ma'am. If anybody wants, more than happy to share the slides as well. And the last one might little bit intrigue you, which is work-life balance started as a fight against factory owners, became a corporate PowerPoint, and today basically us fighting our own phone. Think aloud, do some reflection if that makes sense. If you don't agree with me, absolutely fine. If you agree with me, more than happy. But please feel free to disagree with me, because when people disagree, the best comes out. And I move on to the next slide. Is it good, Preeti ma'am? We are going good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So let me go to the next slide. And how do I go to the next slide? Right. This is a bit of a cheer to everybody who says, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they don't listen to their parents. In fact, Preeti ma'am and I were also talking before the class how the world has shifted. I would say Gen Z, Gen Alpha, you're doing absolutely the right thing. You're doing absolutely the right thing. And I will take cues from, the white ball cricket and the red ball cricket. I mean, red ball cricket is from the Sunil Gavaskar era, the Kapil Dev era, I mean, the Desmond Haynes era and all those era. I mean, they had a lot of patience in their life, which is absolutely fine. And they loved playing red ball cricket. Now, red ball cricket is made out of leather, and the swing of red ball cricket stays for longer, asking you to play for 5 days in a 5 days match. The white ball is made of color, and it loses its shine and becomes a very hard stone after over number 30. So you can start knocking your shots outside the boundary, or over the boundary for sixes. So we don't Gen Z, Gen Alpha doesn't have patience to play red ball. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely no. It's actually a good thing. And I would say just before the cool weekend, this is how people have evolved. It's not a collapse. If we are not able to play test match, it's not a collapse. It's just a human evolution. And we have to live with it. Because if we don't live with it, we are inviting trouble for ourselves. I'm still in an awe, in a, I'm still in an ego that how could my parents slap me, whereas I can't slap to my daughters. I still have that ego in me. Now I need to get rid of that ego as soon as possible, because if I live with that ego for life, I'm not doing justice to my daughter, because I have to start thinking from the way she thinks, right? When you go on stage, you say you need to read people's mind and act accordingly. So I have to start reading the minds of Gen Z and Gen Alpha and tweak my entire structure, my strategy, so that I give a good ecosystem to those people. So this is what we did. The red ball is just like Dal Makhni. The headquarters of ICI is in Noida. I mean, and Preeti ma'am is from Amritsar. She would appreciate Dal Makhni for that matter. So, you require 24 hours. Authentic Dal Makhni requires 24 hours to get cooked. It's a very slow cooking. And then you get the splendor or the grandeur of Dal Makhni. Dosa. Dosa is a very lazy dish that way. Allow urad dal to kind of just sink overnight, morning, get up, you kind of allow it to ferment. In less than 2 minutes, you get the dosa. So dosa is our Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Dal Makhni is our Gen X. We have to bridge the gap. And if we bridge the gap, trust me, the flight that you are sitting in, ICAIWLB, will be smooth for the rest of your life. So that's what the slide says. Red ball cricket is basically slow cooked dal makhni. It needs love, patience, hours of slow simmering. Gen X adored it, right? We adored it. I'm 45 now. I shouldn't be asking Preeti ma'am's age, and for that matter, Priya ma'am's age, but I'm 45. So getting towards the last inning of my life. And it says Gen X adored it partly because they need no reels, and partly because even the TV needed a tap to start, isn't it? अपने वो एंटीना को चेक करते थे ना जब रामायण आता था. अभी करके दिखाओ, आप बोलेंगे ये क्या हो गया यार, एंड पीपल विल वॉक आउट, व्हाई इज दिस इंटरनेट नॉट वर्किंग. Today's generation survives on chats and reels. Fast, spicy, instantly explosive. Just like white ball cricket. Sneeze once and you have missed a six. So when we discuss the recent Indian test debacle, it feels like a test collapse, and it's absolutely wrong. It's not a test collapse. It's just a human evolution, and we have to evolve. Likewise, the work-life balance also has to evolve. Doesn't it sound like, you are expecting Maggie to behave like a 12-hour menu? No, you can't expect. Maggie has to be cooked in less than 3 minutes. If you try to change the Maggie will die as a recipe. So is our younger generation. So is the work-life balance. So it's we, people who are around Gen X, who are listening to me, we have to change to allow this work-life balance transition and become a very, very powerful instrument over next 20, 30 years. I can't tell you what will happen after 20, 30 years. I don't have that kind of a visibility and I'm not qualified to talk to you about that. But this is the slide I want you all to little bit capture and think through that how we all are evolving as human beings. All right, I now move on to my next slide. And what does the next slide say? Now, next slide is a bit interesting one. I think around 15 days back, Priya ma'am, Jay sir, and all, we decided to have this session today. And in last 9 days, I repeat, in last 9 days, we did a campaign on social media, in LinkedIn, in Instagram and all, where it says 9 days, nine flavors, nine contrarian views. We take let's understand work-life balance. Let's have a conversation with work-life balance. I don't understand the meaning of this word. Some of the questions which struck me is work-life balance two words or it is one word? This is the most profound question which stuck me. So we were all around places. This is a campaign we started 9 days ago, and I'm pleased to share we kind of touched roughly around 50,000 to 60,000 impressions in last 9 days in on LinkedIn, and around about I think 100,000 impressions cutting across Facebook, Instagram, just on the concept of work-life balance. So this campaign started on 11th of December, and today is what we are concluding this campaign with this ICAI TV live. You are listening to work-life balance today. So let me take you through this journey, and this should bring smile on everybody's face. Day one, what did we do on day one? Gosh, day one, dosa batter goes to its guru curd. Isn't that wonderful? Dosa batter goes to its guru curd. कर्ड को हिंदी में दही बोलते हैं. मेरी मेरी अंग्रेजी उतनी अच्छी है नहीं, प्रीति मैम. I come from a Hindi speaking background. So what I do is I kind of think in English, think in Hindi, allow my mind to quickly translate in English, and I'm speaking in front of you and all my audience. But what I did is dosa batter goes to the guru curd, asking a very eternal question: how do you balance work and life? I mean, isn't that a most profound question ever lived after the movie Mohabbatein, when Shah Rukh Khan asked, "ये प्यार कैसे होता है?" The second most profound question after Shah Rukh Khan's dialogue is, "How do you balance work and life?" So this is what it says. Dosa batter goes to its mentor Curd, and he said, "Do you sleep to transform, or does the bacteria secretly work overtime to make your curd?" Is a wonderful question. The Kurt smiles and says, when you genuinely enjoy your work, when you genuinely enjoy your work, even the bacteria align with you. The entire kainat aligns with you to make your life very meaningful. I just stay in the right environment, the right warmth, the right set, and the right mindset, then transformation becomes effortless. डोसा बैटर स्टिल ही इज नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. लगता है ना कि लोग इतने खुश कैसे हो सकते हैं यार. जब लोग खुश रहते हैं ना, अपने को लगता है कहीं वो पागल तो नहीं है, कहीं वो डिप्रेशन से तो नहीं गुजर रहा है. नहीं, लोग जेन्युइनली में खुश रहते हैं, एंड दिस इज परफेक्टली नॉर्मल. एंड कर्ड enjoys life to the fullest. So dosa batter still puzzles, ask, how do you change so smoothly? Any hacks? Curd replied, just set the environment. Warmth, clarity, and no micromanagement. Your team watches what you do, not what you announce. Transformation are not forced, they are fermented. And if curd rests to transform and transforms while resting, then should balance feel like work, or should work feel like balance, or what exactly? So we allowed people to comment on that, and we got some amazing comments on all the social media, where after just reading this particular slide, the entire thought triggered that whether these two are two different words or these two are same words. Guys, we have just touched 20,000 feet above the sea level. We will be cruising to 35,000 feet. And I've already told you there will be a couple of goosebumps as we move along. So just yet, don't fasten your seat belts, because we are perfectly fine. We are perfectly fine, and I hope Preeti ma'am, Priya ma'am, and I, three of us, are taking good care of all our passengers today. That's day one. I think if it is registered, let me move to day two. Now, day two was even a bigger one. I mean, these three gentlemen, tomato, onion, and potato, they saw a lot of these summits happening on NDTV Summit, Republic Summit, CNBC TV 18 Summit. They say, guys, we also need to have a summit. And they started something called a zero-hour work-life balance summit. Isn't that interesting? The three vegetables, which is actually the heart and soul of any Indian dish. प्याज, टमाटर और आलू के बिना खाना नहीं बनता। आई मीन दे इसके ये तीनों के बिना खाना नहीं बन सकता। और इमेजिन करिए दे आर ऑन अ समिट, दे आर ऑन अ जीरो आवर समिट, एंड दो दैट वाज इंस्पायर्ड बाय इंडियन पार्लियामेंट जीरो आवर, it's called life balance, work life balance summit, and that one Vinod in the corner whispering. I'm sure all of you would have watched Panchayat. If not, please go and watch on Amazon Prime. I know watching the summit, there was one Vinod who says, "Dekh raha hai na Vinod, Gyan aa raha hai." And we are going to see what these three people spoke about. Potato, guys, what is work-life balance? A skill? A snack? Can I Amazon Prime it? Onion, no clue, bro. My break is just reels till my chai gets cold and my sutta retires. Guys, I'm trying to be in a Gen Z and Gen Alpha tone now. It's okay, bro. I don't know, bro. I mean, that's a kind of style which you hear in today's generation when you go to school and colleges. So I'm learning from them. It's a reverse mentoring which is happening. Tomato, same, took a 5 minute break, came back after 47 reels smarter and three deadline dumper. Potato, wait. If we all have time for reels, do we actually have a life we are wasting? That brought silence in the entire summit. All the vegetables were watching. I mean, every vegetable, dhania, pudina, palak, paneer, they were all watching the summit. And this profound question of tomato, wait, if we have time for reels, do we actually have a life we are wasting? There was a silence for 2 minutes before you see that Ekta Kapoor ad coming, kyunki saas bhi kabhi bahu thi, kind of. But those 2 minute silence actually prevailed in that entire summit. And after that silence happens, it happens in corporate life as well, right? If you go for a coffee talk and when your CFO or the CEO is talking, and he says, "Any questions, anyone?" And there will be silence for 2 minutes, whoever is listening to the coffee talk, and somebody will say, "Sir, I have that question." And then, Onion had the courage to say, "Bro, don't do this. I thought I had no life. Turns out Insta just kidnapped me. Tomato, life, I'm here. Hee hee, reels, you are actually taking away my life. Potato, new plan, work first. Reels later, chai sutta controlled, life recovering. I mean, see the transformation they had in this entire summit. They started off with the idea of work life, and this is all amongst the Gen Z and Gen Alpha, by the way. Mostly, I'm sure all of you will be able to reveal. Let me tell you, when I was working in India, my life, 9 o'clock go to office till 9:10 clear my emails, 9:10 go for a sutta break on the ground floor, come back at 9:40, start working till 10, have a meeting with my manager 10 to 10:30, again go for a sutta break, come back. I had 8, 9 chai break during my entire day. If I do a, time and motion study, 30% of my time was wasted out of nothing. My request is, if this slide makes sense to you, if the slide makes sense to you, just bring back that, daily time that we waste on chai and sutta break and watching those reels infinitely. But if those reels are making sense for you, you are learning something, it's absolutely fine. But if they are not, then those are the reels you need to cut down in your life. And there's a concept which you get from the market, stop loss. So have a stop loss on the reels which are not adding value to the life. And I can tell you, Pritima, my sense is if we cut down on the reels in office without any credible data, just a ballpark estimate, we will at least recover 5% of our work-life balance. At least
Be able to
5% on a
utilize
daily
to the
basis.
productivity.
What's your thought process on this?
We'll be able to utilize more time to the productive task.
Correct. And I'm only asking to cut down on the reel. So that's the zero hour work life balance summit. And from three or very ordinary people in our society, आलू, टमाटर और प्याज के बीच में, right? And then, you need to have that Binod in the classroom. You always need to have that Binod, dekh raha hai na Binod. And this is what the sublime Binod says. You actually have good work, good life, and yes, even good reels. We just need to stop mixing the three like a chaotic curry. So everybody has to coexist. We all have to coexist, and we need to allow coexistence to happen between work-life balance. So, guys, as we are moving, we are cruising along now 35,000 feet. The weather is still okay. Around about 10 minutes from now, we might have a slow, bumpy ride. I request all of you to fasten your seatbelts as we move along to the next couple of slides. Right, so this is day number 2, and we are having this discussion all along. Day 3 was a big surprise. Can you believe, guys, we reached out to the Supreme Court of India to understand work-life balance? We did, Preeti ma'am. Me and Priya ma'am, we went to the Supreme Court asking, can you explain us work-life balance? And you know what they told us? This is the case study for you, which actually teaches the real essence of work-life balance, which is Union of India versus Azadi Bachao Andolan. This is one of the landmark judgment of Supreme Court India on international tax. And I do say it, let's celebrate 2 decades of judgment on this profound international tax case of India, and which is still a textbook amongst all tax authorities, all chartered accountants watching this particular Zoom telecast, ICI TV live. And if you want if you want answers to questions on international tax, Azadi Bachao Andolan versus of Union of India should be your first textbook. And this is one thing I also request all youngsters watching, like the game of cricket. You watch Sachin Tendulkar for his footwork and the steady headness. And for international tax, this is what you need to watch. But look at the message it gives out for work-life balance. My goodness, Supreme Court of India talking about work-life balance through a case study sounds very, very profound. And this is the key message from this case law on the work-life balance. Think of it like making a perfect masala dosa. Over ferment the batter and it overflows. Under ferment it and it turns heavy. Too much masala and it breaks. Too little and it feels empty. Get the balance right and the magic happens. When balance is respected in law, leadership, to life, everything rises in life. Everything rises in life. And some of the aspects of international tax very well aligns to work-life balance. And by the way, this judgment was of 2003. So you can understand how well the entire work-life balance structure is flowing even from some of the profound Supreme Court cases of Government of India. And I do repeat out of my passion, student of international tax, all faculties of international tax, all my respected members listening this ICI TV live today, Zoom live today. Union of India versus Azadi Bachao Andolan is one of the most detailed literature on international tax and work-life balance. So that's how we spent day 3, and we could receive some very good responses from some of the judges of Supreme Court as well, saying we should celebrate some of the cases, some of the profound cases of India. By the way, India is a jurisprudence capital of the world. We think India gave yoga to the world? Answer is yes. India gave Vedas to the world? Answer is yes. India gave lot of things to the world. There is one thing we don't celebrate, Preeti ma'am, is Indian jurisprudence. India is the jurisprudence capital of the world, and this is one more thing which India has given very nicely to the world. So kudos to all the chartered accountants present here, because direct tax is our life, and we have given jurisprudence to the world. So this is on day 3. Let me now move on to day 4. Should we take a pause or we continue like this?
Yes, sir, we can continue.
We can continue. Right.
Comfortable.
Day 4. Oops. My goodness. If you see, am I looking at the slides correctly? Day 3 of 9. Yeah, day 4 of 9. Where did day 5 of 9? Hang on. Day 3 of 9. Day 5 of 9. There is something missing on day 4. Oh yes. Oh yes. Now I remember. There is something missing on day 4. We didn't publish anything on day 4 because we thought even LinkedIn wants a break in life, isn't it? LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, they are also human beings. They also took break in life. So day 5, where did day 4 go? If you were wondering what happened to day 4, I just quietly stepped away. I traveled to a place with no agenda, no deadline, only silence and in my own thought. It wasn't a leadership tactic, it was just a hunger I had been longing. And did I enjoy my company? And this is one question I want to pose to everybody. Do you guys actually enjoy your company, or you need somebody to enjoy that particular moment? If you actually enjoy your company, you have arrived in life. You don't need anybody else. You just enjoy your company, whether it's your creative side, your intellectual side, your emotional side. If you can enjoy your company, you have arrived in life, period. So try this out next weekend. I mean, who knows, or everybody watching me today might actually be excellent authors, excellent poets, excellent writers, excellent singers. You just need to manifest the creative side of your side, and you will see the work life balance will automatically happen. And I repeat, when we start working too much on the intellectual side, ignoring the creative side, we disbalance our work life. To ensure the work and life is balanced, we need to balance the right side of our brain as well as the left side of the brain, which is the intellectual IQ versus EQ. When they both come together, you will have a profound happiness. So try this out and do share your comments with ICI. I'm sure. How did you feel when you went out with your own company? Did you enjoy? Did you fight with yourself? Did you think about some grudges that you had in mind, or you said no? I'm just enjoying this moment. Do try it, and I will tell you, you will get some amazing answers. And this is exactly what we did on day 5. But then one question stayed with me throughout. Is work life truly two distinct, mutually exclusive words, or it is meant to be understood as one? And I haven't got an answer as yet, Preeti ma'am, and everybody watching. I'm still very confused because if you see Narayan Murthy sir, I mean, with a lot of respect, when Narayan Murthy sir said we should be having 70 hours work, you see the kind of backlash that was received in the society. Now, I know somewhere, I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but perhaps as we move along, we might get an answer to this question. I request everybody to be very, very open-minded in this discussion today, because there are something which the intellectual mind cannot answer, and work-life balance is something the intellectual mind cannot answer. It's only our emotional mind and our spiritual mind which can answer or give question to work-life balance. So on this slide, day 5 out of 9, I want to ask you to have this first question to yourself, which I want you all to take after the session as well. Are these two words distinct, mutually exclusive, or they are meant to be understood as one? All right, so that's my day 5 of 9. Fantastic. Day 6. And this is the typical Indian who doesn't know English comes alive, which is from my corporate stand-up I'm a student of stand-up comedy, ladies and gentlemen. And I always say, people laugh at my jokes, it means you are a good human being. It doesn't mean I'm a good comedian. But then this is what we try to do out of day 6. And if this brings smile on your face, allow it to happen. And this is when I said, when the English language tries stand-up comedy. When the English language tries stand-up comedy, and I thought, wow, I have cracked the puzzle. Guys, I have cracked the puzzle. Did we overcomplicate the idea of work life by dressing it up with heavy English jargon? And this was my yesterday's I had put a small reel on Instagram as well, where I had said, have what all we have copied from the West? We have copied our entire corporate wardrobe, isn't it? यार इंडिया में 40 डिग्री होता है, 45 डिग्री होता है, फिर भी अपने सूट पहन के जाते हैं ऑफिस में. I mean, who is the best, who is the most productive in India in summers? It's actually our air conditioners. So we have just copied the wardrobe from the West without even understanding that in a tropical climate like India, we really don't need suit and tie. We just need a khadi ka kurta and pajama. That's it. And we don't need all those things. So we copied our corporate wardrobe from the West. We copied a lot of food from the West. To my reading, we just copied work-life balance also from the West. And I'll come in the ensuing slides. Why do I do that? And sometimes, this English really amazes me. So I've given certain examples where I said, did we overcomplicate the idea of work-life balance by putting it into heavy English jargon? And let me just put out these important things. And you'll get a sense if people are attending from North India or having a good sense of Hindi, will also appreciate, or people who are not English speaking, they will also appreciate this. I've just tried to break it down: street food style English versus fine dining style English. स्ट्रीट फूड स्टाइल इंग्लिश, भाई चाय और समोसा ऑर्डर कर, बैठ के बात करते हैं, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगा. Any problem that you have in life, have a chai and samosa, talk through that problem. 99% of the problems will be solved. But what does English does to you? We need broader engagement. Let's create a SWOT and a war room. मेरी तो उसी में पसीना छूट जाती है, इतनी बड़ी बड़ी अंग्रेजी छूट के. मतलब भाई मैंने क्या पूछा था, एक प्रॉब्लम है सॉल्व करते हैं, और तू इतनी अंग्रेजी एक साथ झाड़ दिया. लेट्स क्रिएट अ स्वॉट एंड अ वॉर रूम. So this is a fine dining English, and guys, this is the stand-up comedian who is talking in front of you. So take it all this as a very light moment. Second is the most profound, and this is one of this always I give in my signature talk. Street style food, Banarasi Pan Dukan. But if you translate into fine dine English, it becomes Beetle Continental Private Limited. Sounds so interesting and larger than life. है वही बनारसी पान जो 10 रुपए में मिलेगा, चमन चटनी या मीठा पान. But that's what English does to you. Point I'm trying to tell you is the work-life balance is not our concept. I repeat, it's not our concept. We have borrowed it from the West. And go back to the next one. Street side food is, don't worry, दोस्त, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. I'm always with you. And then the fine dining, which is a typical corporate style, a rallying cry. It took me 15 minutes to go to a dictionary and Google when I first heard this word in, you get this corporate employee engagement emails from HR. One Monday they said, this week we celebrate rallying cry. अब भाई रेलिंग क्राई का मतलब भी तो समझना है. कोई हिंदी वर्ड तो है नहीं कि कोई इंडियन वर्ड है नहीं. 15 मिनट लगा मेरे को उसका मतलब समझने में. जब तक मतलब समझा I forgot what are we supposed to do with this particular concept. So see how beautiful. as a simple English, हिंदी में दोस्त डोंट वरी सब ठीक हो जाएगा. इंग्लिश में भी से रेलिंग क्राई. एंड लाइकवाइज अगेन भाई कोलीग को देख ले, कॉपी पेस्ट कर, काम ठीक से हो जाएगा. इन इंग्लिश वी कॉल लेट्स लिवरेज बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस. हिंदी में थैंक यू, गुड एप्लीकेशन ऑफ कॉमन सेंस. This is interesting. Fine dining. Best in class, people and brain have collaborated to achieve the desired results. So I'm just trying to tell you the difference between English and Hindi. And our first language is not English. Remember, our first language is not English. And finally, in the work-life balance style, भाई थोड़ा काम कम कर, टेंशन में मत रहे, चाय पी, घर जा, कल फ्रेश होके आएंगे, अच्छे से काम करेंगे. Simple. You know what the fine dining and larger than English life says? We need to collaborate priorities, redesign bandwidth allocation, and institutionalize well-being framework. इतनी इंग्लिश में तो मैं पूरा बेहोश ही हो जाता हूँ मैं अपनी कंपनी में. मतलब भाई सिंपली समझाना क्या बोलना चाह रहा है. Or in my entire session, what I'm going to tell you in a very simple tone, that now start thinking on the lines that maybe work-life balance are not two different words. They are one word. And I don't want to force this concept to you. I just want to ignite your mind and help you understand few dimensions. Work-life balance is a concept borrowed from the West. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Second, we are not English speaking. English is not our first language. So anything that we understand in English can have a different emotion, completely different, than you translate into a native Kannada or a native Hindi or any of the local language. I come from Odisha, Sambalpur. If I translate it into Oriya, it becomes a different meaning for me emotionally. Right, so work-life balance was never meant to be a corporate thesis. It was meant to be a human conversation. Really? Yes, it was meant to be a human conversation, often over chai and coffee. Trust me, guys, 90% of our emotional problems will be solved if you just put your hand on, the shoulder of your friend and say, "Chinta mat kar, life theek ho jayega." You really don't need a work-life balance gyan to make your life work-life balanced. So this is slide number 6 for all of you. And this is I'm just trying to be a stand-up comedian. I'm going for a lot of open mics in last 2 3 months. I hope I make it. If I don't make it, it's fine. But then this is an attempt from my side just to help you explain English versus Hindi, and how we should not be carried away by some of the English jargons we copy paste from the West. Right. So we move to now slide my day 7. Goodness, what happened on day 7? Day 7, we actually made the announcement first after talking to Preeti ma'am, talking to Priya ma'am, that day 7 is when we should go to LinkedIn and we should say that we are going to have this session on 19th. And this is what we said, the committee is doing this. And what did we do on day 7? And three of us, Preeti ma'am, Priya ma'am, and I, we kind of roughly spent it around 3 hours, if I'm not wrong. How do we approach today's session? And we said, when things start feeling confusing or overcomplicated, go back to the basics, isn't it? Go back to the basics. A sentence you will hear from your parents and your teachers and your bosses. What are we going to do in next 45 minutes? Yes, we will revisit all the CA final subjects. I mean, why are we looking to understand work and life balance through any television channel? We are chartered accountants. Let's look work-life balance from our very own CA final textbooks. Now, I can have two kind of audience. Nah, Dinesh, not again. बहुत मुश्किल से CA final pass किए हैं. I did the same as well. I always say I passed CA final by reciting Hanuman Chalisa. Trust me, this is how I passed my CA final. And there's some, I'm sure somebody are gold medalist also in today's session. With due respect to gold medalist and everybody who has passed in the first attempt, I never passed CA final in the first attempt. But then in next 45 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will visit every subject of CA final. And I am sure by the time we end today's session, you will understand the subject of work-life balance once and for all time. Right? So let's see how this goes. So no bias, no judgment, just perspective, dimension, and possibilities. Yes, going back to CA final days on a Friday evening when the India versus South Africa last T20 match is going to start exactly 3 hours from now. And I'm going to finish much, much faster from, and we are not going to hold you till the match starts, India versus South Africa. We will finish the CA final, because I'm sure once you go into the nostalgic moment of attending, revising CA final, it is going to make a lot of us very jittery. It is going to bring smile on everybody's face, but let's go through that journey. Slide 8. And this is the point which I talked about on slide 6, work-life balance. Copy pasted concept or custom made for India. And what I told you a couple of slides back, we adopted Western corporate wardrobes in a large tropical country like India, where ACs is the most productive employee. We borrowed food habits, and this is what the point I was trying to make is English is not our first language. So any jargon that we see in English, do a lot of filtering and censoring before you embrace it in your life, because that carries a certain different vibrations and certain different emotions. I carry a different set of emotion when I speak in my local language. And the meaning, the taste, texture, context, everything is completely different when you speak in your local language. And I take a lot of pride when I say our Indian Prime Minister, wherever he goes nowadays, he speaks in Hindi. That's a big transformation which has happened in our leadership. And I take pride in saying I also prefer speaking in my local language. Whatever is your local language, uh, start using that local language, and I can tell you, your entire approach to work-life balance will completely vanish. You will not even have this conversation of work-life balance. Right. So this is slide number 8. We have already covered it, and I've given you the essence of this work-life balance. And one of the sentence, third last bullets, in some places, work and life are neatly separated. In India, they often overlap, sometimes even on the office WhatsApp group. And you look at the West, where we copied work-life balance. Guys, the government pays for their medical, the government pays for their education. Now, all of you tell me which are the biggest expenditure in our lifetime. It's education, medical, and house, isn't it? Education, medical, and house. Now, the government of these developed countries, they bear two-thirds of your major expenses. So they can afford work-life balance. We can't, because I am not given that kind of a privilege by my government. I'm not here to criticize the government. That's a setup now. It can change in the future. But presently, I do not get covered on the medical from the government. The government doesn't pay the education of my daughters. The government doesn't pay me for any other thing. So I have to work for 18 hours in a day to ensure I have enough bank balance to take care of my family and well-being. Is that a good thing? I don't know, because I'm just enjoying doing it. I'm just enjoying doing it. So there's no point cribbing that why am I doing? But the construct of US is different from the construct of India. Right. So that's about this. Day 9. We are here today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are talking about work-life balance. Who deserves the spotlight? So far, I think both the topics are deserving equal spot have taken equal spotlight, isn't it? Work and balance have taken equal spotlight. By the way, we are just cruising along very nicely. We are almost about to land in our destination called life, called work actually. We took up from life, we are going towards work, and we will go back to life again. We might touch down in another 10 minutes. So fasten your seatbelts, because when we touch down, it is going to be bumpy. I did tell you that we might have some goosebumps as we move along. We actually might. So hold on to that surprise. But please fasten your seatbelts for your own safety from here on, because we are also going to touch upon CA final subjects, and I'm sure it will not be very comfortable for all of you. But let's get started. Right. So this is the first bumpy ride. Imagine the air hostess saying, "Please fasten your seatbelts. The captain has requested." That was a very bad tone. Imagine the air hostess saying, "The captain has requested to fasten your seatbelt, ladies and gentlemen. Please fasten and do not go to the toilet specifically." So this is your section 1. Now I tried something funny today. I tried creating something called Work-Life Balance Act. And I did put 2010, because that is the time when Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they started manifesting in India and everywhere. Imagine, how would you draft section 1 of work-life balance? All of you have studied law, right? All of you, I'm sure. I'm a tax professional, and I study section 1, section 2, the definition of anything. So how do we define work-life balance? I've given this 5 definition if this were to go in something called Work-Life Balance Act of 2010 in India. So the first definition might look like: work-life balance is having 10 deliverables due and still spending 45 minutes scrolling reels to clear your mind and somehow feeling too tired. That's definition number 1. And I want all of you to give your sense which is the definition you want to go for. Definition number 2. We say we are busy at work, but somehow find time for reels. Life, however, waits for quality time with family, friends, and real conversation. I mean, that's what life wants. Would that be a good definition of work-life balance? If not yet, let's look at number 3. Life means the quality of time spent with family and friends. Not how long we were present, but how present we were during that conversation. If you go to a restaurant today, even people who are engaged and they are going for dates, like on a fine dining restaurant, I've seen the people are going for dates and they are both busy in their mobile phones. Yeah, come on, Mike. This should be the most romantic evening of your life. You have come out for a date for your future life partner. Leave aside your mobile phone and enjoy that moment. So this could be one definition. Not how long you were present, but how present you were during that conversation. And after you go home, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, see, when you're spending time with your family, you're actually with mobile phones, or you're actually fully 100% spending, even if 10 minutes of your life, with your family. That's very important. And then the fourth one is: life is a quality of time we give to people who matter, isn't it? Now, these are the 4 definitions. The fifth one, this is something which I kind of personally admire Harsha Bogle a lot. I've done some, quizzing competition where I have done regional finals for Young India Challenge. and he did the national finals for me. And this is one of his most popular talk in one of the B schools about Sachin Tendulkar. And this could well be a definition of work-life balance. A young Sachin Tendulkar practicing for hours after school, returning home exhausted, falling asleep at the dinner table. I repeat, falling asleep at the dinner table. Not imbalance, not sacrifice for applause. It was talent guided by ability, sustained by attitude. Life isn't always about equal hours. Sometimes it's about total alignment. When efforts feels natural, fatigues feels honest, and the people around you understand the season you are in. Balance isn't symmetry, it's knowing why you are tired. If you ask me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I would want to give this definition to Work Life Balance Act of 2010. How profoundly coming through Sachin Tendulkar, he would go to the school, go to the Shivaji Park, practice, and sleep on the dining table. He could fight, right? I can have a work-life balance. I want to fight it out. Why I have to practice for 6 hours, 7 hours daily? No, I mean that's what is called attitude. If I am sincere at work, if I want to do what I want to do, I would never complain about work-life balance. It's only when I don't enjoy my work, I repeat, it's only when I don't enjoy my work, I start complaining about work-life balance. And I'm sure all of you will start relating me on that, isn't it? All of you will start relating me on that. Once you don't enjoy your work, you will start talking about work-life balance. And we always say our memory is not good. That's totally wrong. Some of the Bollywood songs I have listened one and still I remember. कभी कभी आ टाइम में कुछ कुछ होता है मूवी दिल तो पागल है was the time I was in school. I remember bloody lyrics of all the songs even today just after listening one. So I can't say that my memory is not strong. My memory is also very strong. It's just that I paid a lot of attention to Dil To Pagal Hai and Kuch Kuch Hota Hai and Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge songs, that those songs are still very fresh in my mind without ratawing those songs lyrics. But I don't remember section 91 of Indian Income Tax Act on transfer pricing because I don't enjoy that subject. So if you enjoy something, you don't even have to memorize. You will remember the song for your entire life. Senior chartered accountants listening to me, if you are from Kishore Kumar era, Mukesh era, Mahinder Kapoor era, you would know, right? You would never memorize a song. Jagjit Singh era, right from junior chartered accountants listening, Arijit Singh era, Shreya Ghosal era. Have you tried to memorize any song? Still, you would remember the lyrics, the stanza, and the chorus, right? Because a memory is strong. Just that you enjoyed the song, you never thought of memorizing it. It was so natural to you. So that's the section one of work-life balance of 2010. All right, I'll take a pause, ma'am. Any questions from any audience, or we continue?
So we can take questions in between if you want. We have two
I'm
questions
happy if
right
anybody
now.
has questions. Up to you, Preeti ma'am.
We have two questions right now.
We can take two questions. Yes, of course. If you can, I'm not able to see, ma'am.
I'm going to read it for you.
Please.
Okay. The first question is from Anurag Mishra. The question is, balance get disturbed when due date and festival or on any occasion is coming on same day.
I mean, I'm with you, man. But I'm with you. But have you even seen, Sachin? I mean, I don't think our Prime Minister has taken any day off, right? That's what it said. Nor is all our Indian cricketers. During the day of Diwali, also they have played.
Hmm.
My view is, and this is a very personal view, Preeti ma'am, and to the person asking question, if you have a siddat, that's a Hindi word, अगर बहुत सिद्दत है ना काम के लिए, you will never look at that holiday, man. You will just go and do it. Your family will understand that there is a deadline and they will ask you to compensate for a holiday some other day. And that's what family does to you. They collaborate and support you when you have pressure deadlines in front of you. So I would say, I see life as glass half full. So if you have stretched deadlines and all, first see, do you really have to wait till the deadline? Procrastinating work? If no, then just enjoy the moment. यार दिवाली किसी और दिन मना लेंगे ना, वो लक्ष्मी माता उतना ही खुश हो जाएगी. लक्ष्मी माता इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड कि तू उसी दिन में उनका पूजा कर. शी विल बी इक्वली हैप्पी if you kind of fold your hands and pray in front of her any time in 365 days. That would be my answer to this question.
Or we
Yes,
can
next.
balance our work and life and complete our deadline or work one day before.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear that properly.
So we can also do one thing more, that we can spare a day, that is Diwali, for our family and complete our due date or task one day before. That is today, if 19th of December is Diwali, we can complete our task till 18th and celebrate the Diwali with the family. So if you're not balancing your life, that is the one reason you have to push your work to the deadlines.
तो चिंता मत करिए सर, अपने कभी कभी ऐसा होगा ना, साथ में धरना देंगे
Happens.
पार्लियामेंट के सामने, निर्मला निर्मला ताई जी को बोले कि डेडलाइन बढ़ा दो. अब वो नहीं बढ़ाएंगे उनका. मैं आपके साथ हूँ इसमें. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन.
Okay, next question is from Sanchit Gupta. For chartered accountant facing demanding deadlines and regulatory pressure, how can one realistically strike a balance between professional excellence and personal well-being?
So I'm coming to these slides. I'm coming to the which let's as I said, no, whenever in doubt, go back to the basics. So next 6 slides is on CA final subjects, by the way. And before we get on to these subjects, guys, we have passed chartered accountants by reading these subjects. So we are totally responsible for our professional acumen. Likewise, we are responsible for our own lives. If I'm complaining, there is something wrong with me, not with the work. If I'm complaining towards life, there is something fundamentally wrong with me. But still, I do respect that question. And that is what takes me to perhaps my next slide. Aha! Papers in CA finals, copy pasted from the ICI website, Preeti ma'am. Paper 1, financial reporting, paper 2, advanced financial management, right through paper 6. And if you guys are questioning, Dinesh, this is a session on work-life balance. What the hell papers of CA final is doing here? So the answer is, when I told you that, guys, today we are going to cover all the CA final papers to link to the concept of work-life balance. And by the way, we have just touched down to our destination called work. And now we will again fly back to our final destination again, which is life. So from life to work, it was a smooth ride. I'm sure there was no hiccups, although I did tell you in between that there will be a couple of jittery points, but I think we maneuvered very nicely. The way we can do life, we maneuvered the Google Map, weather conditions, change the flight routine. We know there was a roadblock. We did not hit the roadblock, bad weather. We just took a turn and safely landed in our destination. Trust me, you can do that also. You don't have to fight life for everything. Just change, take some U-turns, take some left turn, right turn, maneuver around, and you will find answers to all the questions. So now we are again going back to our final destination, which is our original destination, from work back to life, and then we will conclude our journey. So papers at CA final in a कौन बनेगा करोड़पति स्टाइल. ढैटना, ये रहा आपका पहला प्रश्न. Ah, nahi aaya pehla prashna. My God, there's one more slide here. And this is a slide which intrigues me. What I'm going to cover in next, all the subject is something called chaos analysis. I'm sure all of you would have heard about SWOT analysis. SWOT, ये जितने भी अंग्रेजी शब्द है ना, आप ये सब सुने होंगे. Larger than life words, rallying cry and all we said. मैंने बोला एक और वर्ड ऐड कर देते हैं, मेरा क्या जा रहा है. So today I added something called chaos analysis. I want people to move away from externalizing problems to internalizing problems, internalizing solution. If I start cribbing about the deadline will still remain. I have to re-engineer myself to meet the deadline, and deadlines are good in life. There is an interesting question, Preeti ma'am. I asked to one of a very respected spiritual guru in India, why do you charge fees for your meditation courses? Why do you charge fees, and why there is a deadline to complete any meditation program and all? And the answer he gave me is, listen, Dinesh, if I give you free, and he said, if I give you free, will you take it seriously? If I don't give you deadlines, will you do it with discipline? I said no. He said, I charge a very reasonable amount for my meditation programs, and I give them deadlines to do all the kriyas on time, is because when you follow a disciplined life, you will automatically meet deadlines. If you follow a disciplined line, you will automatically meet deadlines and life will become very seamless. So, what I request, and from the second question, this question is actually triggering from the second question that we had on the table is guys, move away from all the English jargons and the framework, SWOT analysis and all, because so far we have only looked world from pointing finger at others. Today I'm going to point finger at myself. I'm going to point finger at myself. And what are the five fingers I want to point at myself is number one. Where am I confused? The first letter in chaos is C. Where things feel unclear, overloaded, contradictory, too many expectations, roles, deadline, priority. You need to ask what exactly is confusing me right now. So, Preeti ma'am, your point that if there is a deadline on Diwali or Dashera Puja, I need to ask this question. Can I complete the income tax return and statutory audits one day before time? And trust me, 99% of the times you will get an answer yes. I can't find, of course, if there is a natural calamity and all, which is completely different thing. We're not talking about exceptions, but a normal human being, he can. There is a problem where he cannot complete. He eats too much than his stomach allows. If he's able to only audit 40 clients, and if he's taken up 100 clients, मतलब ज़्यादा खा लिया खाना, तो फिर then the problem will automatically happen. So if you are within yourself, this is the first letter of the word chaos. The second is habits. How do what do we repeatedly, often unconsciously, small daily behaviors that quietly shape outcomes? Questions is which habits are helping me and which are hurting me. I kind of delay a lot. I'm a very lazy person. At home, Preeti ma'am and everybody, I'm very lazy person. I never do things on time. And my wife ends up doing everything for me. You know what happens? Typical, husbands, where I'm a very bad husband that way. I don't do my job at home. But then, how do I end up celebrating myself? I say I'm a very good manager. It means I'm getting the work done on time. So small things here and says, so that's confusion. The second is habit. Third is awareness, the ability to notice signals before damage occurs. Stress, fatigue, loss of focus, emotional comfort. By the way, this word stress, ये मैं लास्ट 10 साल में सुना हूं लाइफ में. And I have not heard this word in my when I grew up till the age of 30, by the way. I'm hearing this word stress from the students community, because when I go and give talks to them, they say, sir, we are stressed out. अरे भाई क्यों stressed out है? So I mean that's very herd mentality that we are stressed out. Question is, what is in mind and body trying to tell you? Your mind being completely different. Your body can be in completely different aura. You need to sync this to both. Trust me, if you want to take the second piece of lesson from my today's session, the first thing I said, English is not our language. All the concepts that we have taken from other countries, take it with a pinch of salt. Do not copy paste the concepts like we have very badly copy pasted our wardrobe even, right? Likewise, food. Burger is not our food. Pizza is not our food. Our food is desi ghee. Our food is good. Our food is idli dosa, right? Likewise, in terms of mind and in all these things, have a sense of yourself. And when I say in a tropical climate, I'm saying I'm internalizing myself. That's awareness. You are really where you are now. The fourth is ownership, accepting a responsibility instead of blaming circumstances. Deadline is tomorrow is blaming a circumstance. Deadline did not come today. Nirmala Taiji did not come today and issue a notification that tomorrow is a deadline, right? This notification was always there when the year started. So somewhere, if I have missed a deadline or I'm feeling jittery, somewhere I have not managed my time properly, right? And the last is simplicity, removing unnecessarily complexity, returning to basics that works consistently. And you have seen the pattern of my slide deck where I presented. Just try to keep it very simple, no larger than life jargons. In fact, I told you in this slide, right? When you use larger than life jargon, what happens? एक आदमी को बोलना बीटल कॉन्टिनेंटल प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, वो सोचते रह जाएगा भाई ये कौन सा पिज्जा शॉप का, वो ये कौन सा पिज्जा का दुकान है, मैंने तो सुना ही नहीं है बीटल कॉन्टिनेंटल. बट देन यू से बनारसी पान का नाम ले रहा हूँ भाई, then he will understand and relate. So point is, many of the words and expressions start filtering a lot of things and keep it simple. trust me, life will become very, very simple after that. I specialize in international tax and transfer pricing. If anybody wants to talk to me, I mean, take the number from Priya ma'am, or I can give, of course, I'll giving my number towards the end. We can have a conversation, and I can tell you how transfer pricing will solve a lot of your life problems. That subject is like a mother to me, transfer pricing, and it has solved a lot of my life problems. Might be you, if you are intrigued, please continue to be intrigued, because every subject teaches you something. And that's what we are now pouring into, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Again, we are around 10,000 feet flying back to our destination called life. Everything looks smooth. I don't expect any bad weather. Relax, enjoy the flight, and I hope all my crew is taking good care of yourself, including your captain of the flight today. Final course. Wow. This is my first course. I actually went to the ICI website, Preeti ma'am, and I took this cut copy paste. Now, let me ask, how many of you actually read the objectives of any subject? I mean, let's read the objective of what this subject tries to tell. Financial reporting. Let's read it together. To acquire the ability to integrate and solve problems in practical scenarios on Indian accounting standard for deciding the appropriate accounting treatment and formulating suitable accounting policies. Guys, and our first sentence tells you problem solving. So this chapter is telling solve problems, solve your work life balance problem. Don't make a problem out of a solution. Make a solution out of a problem. So this is the first objective of this paper. Isn't that interesting? And it says appropriate accounting treatment and policies. Have your policies set out very clearly. If you want to be a 9 to 5 person, be a 9 to 5 person. But then 9 to 5 is 9 to 5. It's not like me going for 10 sutta breaks between 9 to 5. It's not like me going for 10 chai sutta breaks between 9 to 5 and then saying, Goy, I'm exhausted, I need to go back home. Life doesn't work that way. So that's the problem solving. Second, to gain the prowess to recognize and apply disclosure norms. And this is the point. See, it uses a very powerful word, prowess, and recognize and apply disclosure norms. Why can't we have work life disclosures in our life? No WhatsApp after 9 p.m. No having a phone call, not going for hard drinks after some time. I'm just using as an example. So recognize and apply disclosure requirements specified to Indian accounting standard while preparing and presenting financial statements. So it doesn't say US accounting standard. And that's the point I'm trying to make. We should not be copy pasting US or any other country. With due respect to them, we have our own ecosystem, we have our own sanskar, and let's follow this. The objective number C, to develop the expertise to prepare financial statement of group entities, which include subsidiaries, associate, joint ventures. I mean, isn't like, consolidating your family and work together? I mean, answer is yes, man. It teaches us to consolidate our subsidiaries, associates, and joint arrangement. Can't it teach us to kind of consolidate our family life and professional life? Of course it does. Of course it does. And the last one is to develop understanding of certain accounting standard and solve problems in practical scenario. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the expression solve problems have come twice, only in our first paper. And see the irony of life. We are able to solve problems on accounting, whereas we are not able to solve problems in work life. So that's something we need to reflect very, very closely from the financial reporting subject. And using the concept of chaos, what is the confusion? Too many accounting standards, estimates, judgment. Life has also too many expectations. That's perfectly fine. I mean, trust me, if you do not have expectation, life will get very boring. Then you end up becoming a monk in life. I mean, then I would say become Gopal Gaur Das if you do not have any expectation. Till the time you are in a Dampatya Jeevan, which is your domestic life, expectations will come, and we need to manage. And these words are very powerful: estimates, judgment, and all. Use your judgment, use your management by exception, and manage it to your goal. Habits. Late night adjustments before routine, personal time stay in suspense. I'm sure when books gets closed, what do you call this, financial auditing and all, how many late night adjustments we carry out, right? I worked in a corporate setup, and when we were used to finalize our books, Even finalizing the books, where we were used to have three cuts: final one, final two, final three. I mean, don't do that. Don't do that. So that is a bad behavior which the even corporates have to go out. Let's have one version of our final reporting. If we keep on making adjustments every time, then trust me, life will also become miserable for you. Then the third one is awareness. Recognizing stress is also identifying a misstatement. First step towards correction. And by the way, if you are misstating your financials, you can only do a prior period adjustment, isn't it? Don't allow misstatement to happen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because if a misstatement happens, you cannot correct it later. It will always reflect. बोलते हैं ना, एक रिलेशनशिप में अगर धागा टूट जाता है ना, तो फिर गांठ लगती है. So that's prior period adjustment you have to carry out. So have that enough awareness when you need to recognize stress, and a misstatement is happening, and start towards first step of correction. Ownership. And I always tell you, you are responsible. The moment we externalize, and this is what our education has taught us, is to externalize problem, blame the problem on others. No, let me raise finger at myself. Trust me, life will become much, much better and simplified. And the last one is simplicity. Materiality matters. Ignore the immaterial noise in your life. People, who are creating noise, I mean, just get rid of them or start ignoring. And people who are creating a difference in a positive way, just have that kind of an aura and circle. So that's paper one of final course financial reporting model one, presented out today in a work life balance session promoted by the Committee of Work Life Balance. I'm little scared, Preeti ma'am, because if people start asking me questions on financial reporting, I can't answer.
So they don't.
Right. So
They
that's
won't.
paper number one. And
They
I'm
don't
not very
want
good in
to
accounting standard.
they
During
don't
my
want to
day,
go back to that era.
yeah, we don't want to. So better we learn from this and let it remain here. We don't want to go back to that era. But look at the two catchy words in the objectives of paper one: solve problems. Guys, it wants us to solve problems, whether it's financial reporting or it's life,
Like,
right? So that's your first paper. Let me move to paper number two. Oh, advanced financial management. This is an interesting paper. And Preeti ma'am, this is what intrigued me. We have such a short objective of this paper vis-a-vis financial reporting. It just has a one-liner. And I love this one-liners: to acquire the ability to apply financial management theories and techniques in strategic decision making. So the question that we got, right, we have a deadline and we have festivals. How do we manage? That's your strategic decision making. Do your task one day in advance. That's your advanced financial management. And then life will become absolutely fine. I know it's easy said than done. I'm the most laziest chap on planet Earth. Trust me, I also do it on the last day. So if you are doing on last day, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. It's very good to come and give a lecture here. I know it's very difficult on ground, but it's totally fine. Even if it's on the last day, just manage that. Just manage expectations from family and friends. Build that narrative. 4-5 दिन पहले से आई ऑल्सो स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग दैट नरेटिव इन फ्रंट ऑफ माई फैमिली. यार इस बार ना हॉलीडे में नहीं जा पाएंगे. The first reaction from wife is very, it generates friction, but you create that narrative, work will happen on time. So let's apply the chaos concept here: risk versus return, career growth versus personal peace. Guys, this is now entirely up to you if you want to get into rat race. And this is a point I raised when I started my slide, isn't it? Rat race. If you want to get into rat race, it's a perfect choice in your life. Nothing wrong in that. And I'm giving you an example of, if I know one of my friends of who is a partner in one of the big four is attending this session today. He always scripts in front of me, Preeti ma'am, that there is no life. He always has to be in office, meet deadlines, time sheet, client, blah blah blah. I always, भाई तू छोड़ क्यों नहीं देता यार, जब इतना ही है. नहीं यार, पैसे बड़े अच्छे मिलते हैं यार, मैं छोड़ नहीं पाऊंगा, बैंक बैलेंस अच्छा है. I mean, guys, so that's fine. So life is a trade-off. If you think that money is good enough for you, that's totally fine. But then don't crib about life. It's totally fine. You have chosen to become a partner in a big four. Yeah, you have chosen to become a partner in a big four. You are drawing a fat salary. That's a risk return trade off. That's a risk return trade off. Perfectly fine. The only thing you need to stop doing is crib about life then. Or if you want to become a better partner, and I'm giving this advice free of cost, change the work life dynamics in advisory and in companies, which means you all need to start doing walk the talk. Allow your staff to go on time, look after that well-being. Life will automatically transform. And if you do not want to do that route, perfectly fine. But if you have chosen that life, let it be. You have chosen career growth over personal peace, totally fine. I'm not the one who is raising fingers at you. Why did you do that? If you have chosen, go for it. So that's a confusion you need to sort out. And trust me, it will solve your work life balance problem. You need to understand yourself first. And that's the point which I spoke about. Day five, spend time with yourself once. If you remember the day five, I said, have you spent time with yourself? Go and understand your temperament. What kind of a temperament? You can work long hours, your intellectual side is more developed, your creative side is more developed, and just go with it. Sachin Tendulkar could not become a very good captain, perfectly fine. He always was and will remain one of the finest opening batsmen and a batsman of all time. So you cannot become everybody in your life, and that's a risk return trade off. The second is habits. Over analyzing every decision drains energy. भाई साहब वो बोलते हैं ना बहुत ज्यादा. I'm sure all of you have seen that. So there is some cafe coffee day or some ad where a person goes to a coffee shop and say मुझे coffee देना. And the question the coffee tender guy asked him is which coffee, black or white, with milk. He says with milk. Second question, black no, with milk, without milk, with sugar, without sugar. He keeps on asking 15 questions to him like a rapid fire. And after the 15th question, he takes out his shoes and starts throwing at him. He said, I just asked you for a simple coffee. How many questions you're asking me for a simple coffee? So that becomes your habit as well. Too many questions doesn't solve problems. Ask very limited question to yourself and life will become super happy. It's only when we start becoming too much scientific and start using too much logical brain, the unpleasantness in us starts kicking up. I repeat, if we start using too much of our logical brain, we start getting unrestless. Just allow things to happen. For example, I'm sure in all of our house, we all believe in this superstition कि जब एक बिल्ली रास्ता काटती है, we should stay, right? And this superstition has stayed forever. We all would have also gone कि शाम को घर में झाड़ू नहीं मारना चाहिए. Now there are scientific reasons to that. When a billy cuts through a road, it was always a signal in those old days that some wild animal is after that billy to eat that billy. So the point was always take a pause, let that wild animal also cross, and then you cross the road. Likewise, in our Indian families, we'll say never clean your house after the sunset. Reason being, all the ladies of those days, they were used to wear heavy jewelries like बड़े बड़े कंगन और वो ज्वेलरी पहनते थे. अंधेरे में कोई ज्वेलरी गिर गया, वो सोना चांदी भी चले जाएगा झाड़ू के साथ. And you know the rate of gold and silver in today's MCX market today. And you don't want that to happen. So everything is backed by science. But the point is, I mean, I over engineered this logic. Some of the logics you don't have to engineer. Allow that sanctity to remain, and life will become very happy. Awareness, time and energy are limited capital resources. Ownership. This is the point. You are the CFO of your life. Because I'm talking to chartered accountants, Preeti ma'am, I've changed the slide to CFO. Otherwise, when I'm addressing other audience, I would have put CEO, depending on my audience, because here everybody comes from a finance background. So chose to write CFO. So you're the CFO of your own life, isn't it? Allocate your time wisely. It's like managing a portfolio, work, your life. One thing I'll tell you give time for your passion. That's what I'm doing. If you see my tagline down, just see the slide. Story writer, storyteller, and content creator, connecting Indian cuisine with management wisdom. Life ka user manual, connecting Gen Z with Gen Alpha. And I've just taken up something called stand-up comedy. I have not given a flashy introduction of myself. I am the head of tax in this company, Y company. I am the CFO. No, I'm just allowing my creative side to manifest, and that is making my life very happy. I can tell you that. Because once you give that outlet to your emotions through your creative side, whatever it can be going in the kitchen and cooking something for your wife or for your husband, a nice, even अगर आप रोटी बना रहे हो, bread को जला दे रहे हो, it's perfectly fine, but do that. If you want to sing, I am a very bad singer, but I still end up singing Khatu Shyam ji ka bhajan in front of my wife, and I want her to throw her sandal on me, because that brings us together. So that's the point. So this is my introduction today. So I'm the CFO of my own life, and then not every decision needs Excel. Sometimes intuition works. Trust me, guys, everything need not go through a scientific process. Allow certain intuitions to work, which our grandparents had. If they tell you don't do this when you are exhaling from your right nostril or left nostril, just allow that intuition to work, because they know something which we don't know. They will always tell you on from which nose you are exhaling air, and they will tell you do something or do not, because they test your entire body ecosystem that point in time. So my point is, not every decision needs Excel sheet and PowerPoint. Sometimes let intuition work. And I'm going to tell you, all the chartered accountants, we are very good in intuition. Allow your intuitive mind to also manifest, and you will see your work life will becomes far better than when we started the session. Right, we'll little bit hurry up, isn't it, Preeti ma'am? 4:30 already.
So we are completely going smoothly, no problem at all.
Okay, great. So this is paper 3, and I never studied this paper nicely, right? Why studied this paper? This also, CA inter or CA final, I was always used to pray in the examination board, भगवान बैलेंस शीट टैली करा देना, आपको मैं आके आज 1 kg दूध चढ़ाऊंगा. So this is what I had done. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. I passed my CA exam. Please, institute is listening, don't go and recorrect my papers now. I have now passed the exam, and I'm 20 years old now, after I passed the exam. So that's paper number 3, Advanced Auditing, Assurance and Professional Ethics. And look at what it tries to say: to gain the ability to analyze current auditing practice procedures and apply them in auditing procedures, to develop the ability to solve cases. Again, it is talking about solve cases. Look, the first subject taught us solve problems. Second subject says apply decision making. What the second subject says? Strategic decision making. Very good. Third subject, again, it is saying solve problems. My goodness, out of the objective of so far the 3 subjects is to solve problems. And auditing helps you solve a lot of problems, which is your post-mortem. So where's the confusion? Doing what's expected and doing what feels right. Right? Just do what feels right. And look, if you start thinking what the others feel about you, you have already made your life miserable. Trust me, if you start thinking what others think of you, you have made your life miserable. When I started talking about Indian cuisine with management wisdom, I know one of my friend from Doha is also listening to this. He's the guy who gave me the first break. Even my own wife said me, Dinesh, is that the right path you're going at? You're a chartered accountant, a senior CXO level, Indian cuisine with management. I said, I just want to do it. And I was just sharing with Preeti ma'am before the session. I have delivered more than 200 hours of lectures globally only on this subject so far, and with huge audience engagement. Now I have created sense of a nonsense. I did not do to get visibility. I just did it because I felt I have it in me. I come from a Rajasthani background. And in our houses, in a typical Rajasthani houses, 90% of the conversation is around food.
No problem. We have lost the connection from the main faculty. We will be back
Am I
in
there?
just few seconds. Yes, sir, you are here.
Gosh.
No problem at all, sir. This is
बहुत
next.
ज़्यादा बोल दिया क्या मैं तो Zoom भी छोड़ा भाई
You
चुप
can
हो जा
take a
भाई.
pause. You can take a pause, relax yourself. That's fine. Audience is always there for you.
अच्छा.
Obviously, they always want the speaker to elaborate, take a pause, listen to
Am I
you.
making sense? Very
Yes,
quick.
yes.
Huh? यार ये सेशन कैसे चलेगा? I mean, it disturbs the एक फ्लो जो होता है ना वो गड़बड़ हो जाता है.
No problem at all. You can take queries in between and we can continue with the session.
So are people there to take?
Yes, sir. People are there. Queries are there.
Oh, sure. I'm sure. Sorry. Yeah, we can take the query. So can they listen to what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. They can listen to you.
Okay. So you can. Where can I see those questions?
Can I read out the question for you?
Please. Thank you so much for that.
So the next question is from Tushar. In a profession where long hours are often seen as a norm, how can CAs refine productivity without compromising either work quality or personal life?
I mean, I'll give you the answer which I did, and I've already given you answer. I do a time and motion study of yourself. This question is from Vishal, you said, right?
Tushar.
Do a time and motion study of how much hours in office you are actually working diligently. And this is with due respect. I'm giving you my example. I did this time and motion study on myself. 9 o'clock to office, 9:10 I reach office, 9:20, clear all my emails, go out for a chai sutta break, come back after half an hour. I'm in the office for 12 hours. Optics wise, it looks I'm in the office for 12 hours. But then in reality, I'm only working for 5 hours. So the fault was with me. So Tushar, this might not be the case with you. You might actually be working very diligently. You might actually be working entire 10 hours, 12 hours. And then I would request, and I think that's the objective of this committee, isn't it? Why we are having this conversation is to ask the entire ecosystem that let's have that work-life balance. And let's get it right. And I told you one of my examples of a consulting. I left office at 5 and people started joking, Acha, aaj half day leke ghar ja rahe ho. I know that is the culture, Tushar. That's perfectly fine. So with this committee, and I'm sure under the leadership of our president, Jay Saab and everybody, this is an awareness we will try to create all collectively. And Tushar, now the onus is on you to go to your manager and say, look, these are the deliverables I have done today. I have my efficacy for today is 80%. And I'm sure your manager will not say that stay for another 4 hours and 5 hours and work for me. No, we all are human beings. He also understands. And trust me, अगर आपका मैनेजर इतना खुड़ूस है ना, उसको जो एम्प्लॉय रेटिंग आएगा ना, जो मैनेजर को रेटिंग देना, एकदम खराब रेटिंग दे देना उसको, फिर वो एचआर संभाल लेगा उसके बाद. That was on a lighter note, but I hear you. But I think there is a problem, which I think the institute have understood there is a problem. So let's try solving this problem all collectively. Great. Next question, or I go back to the slide.
As you wish, we have questions.
Let me complete this, then we'll go to the questions.
You
All right,
can
ma'am?
complete your presentation, then we can go to the question.
Sure. Right. So this is on the auditing habits, ignoring red flags of burnouts. Tushar, yours is the best example. And sorry to call your name for 3-4 times. You're now a celebrity in front of the CA community, by the way. Congratulations. Which means your boss is also listening in, whoever he or she is. My request to the boss, in a typical, what do you call, Munna Bhai MBBS style, भाई अगर ये ढंग से काम कर रहा है ना, इसको प्लीज टाइमली छोड़ दे भाई, तू भी घर जल्दी जा, इसको भी जाने दे, सबको अच्छे से जीने दे. So this is my request to your manager, by the way. Then is awareness. Self-audit reveals fatigue, stress, ethical conflicts. When I say ethical conflicts, I mean, यार wife को time दूं, girlfriend को time दूं, office को time दूं, सबको time देना पड़ेगा भाई. We have taken this human being yoni after 84,000 births, right? So we have to do justice to this life. We have to balance it out. Then the ownership is integrity begins with respecting personal boundaries. And the point is here again, if you are overstretching in office, I'm giving you examples of few companies, Preeti ma'am. Only yesterday, one of my friends took a Bangalore metro he was leaving office at 11 p.m. 11 p.m. his boss calls and says, where are you? He said, I'm just 2 stations away from my house. He says, come back to the office. There's a client escalation. And that guy had to come back to the office because today he was supposed to take a break and we were supposed to have a family gathering. He went back office at 11 p.m. Now, my request to that manager, don't do this to yourself and don't do this to that person who would have just reached home 10 minutes from the time you called him. I mean, these are some of the serious deficiencies we need to work around. All of you listening, take this presentation and share it in your office. And as I'm saying, whenever in doubt, go back to the basics. And this is a very, very basic reflection that we are all trying to learn today from our CA final course curriculum. It can't get better than this, I can tell you. I'm not here giving you a quotation from Bhagavad Gita or anywhere else. I'm not here to give you a quotation from Narayan Murthy. I'm here to give you what our subjects have taught us, isn't it? And if what our subjects have taught us, that should become our lives. So take this presentation and discuss with your HR. And let me tell you, a lot of the work-life balance will start getting solved as we progress in coming future. And the last is do the right thing even when no one is watching. I'm sure all of you know this. Do the right thing when no one is watching. Trust me, nobody cares. Nobody cares for you. As I speak to you, ma'am, I just received an award from LinkedIn, which is the Catalyst of the Year 2025. They said your ideas are creating spark in global stage, whatever. Now, point is, this is on connecting food and management. And on work-life balance is a very, very important dimension to that. And I would say just do the right thing. Just do the right thing, and everything will fall in place. If your boss is not listening, there is a bigger boss who is listening to you. And the bigger boss is listening only when you are simple, you are doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. That's auditing, isn't it? Even when no one is watching, if you're doing the right thing, you actually don't need this subject. We can scrap this subject. We will only have 5 papers. And in the CFO language, we have reduced 18% of our curriculum just because we have started doing the right things and we are eliminating auditing paper from CA final. That could be a breaking news if we all start doing the right thing when no one is watching us. Right, we move to the subject number 4, direct tax laws and international tax, which is my subject. It's a mother to me. It has given me a lot of international recognition in Australia, in Singapore, worldwide. I see this subject as a mother, and I get a lot of life answers from this subject. Now, look at what it says. To acquire the ability to analyze and interpret the provisions of direct tax laws and recommend, my goodness, again, optimal solution to practical problems. Every subject is saying offer some solution in a tax efficient manner to apply the provision of direct tax and concept principles and provisions of international tax to recommend solutions to issues involved in cross border. So let's come with the confusion. Frequent changes, interpretations like changing priorities in life. That doesn't happen. I'm sure all of you know about the Vodafone case, which went till the Supreme Court. You cannot make retrospective changes in our tax laws. You know what happened to the investors? They started going out of our country, and then Supreme Court intervened, and then the law was changed, which is perfectly fine. You cannot have a volatility in your emotions. It's not the stock market where you have a VIX volatility index, and the stock prices will go up and down. It cannot happen that way. So it's just like direct tax laws. What the direct tax laws wants to tell you, give certainty in law. Whatever, even if you want to charge 50% tax, it's absolutely fine. But don't change your tax rates every year, isn't it? So that is what life confuses. I mean, that is what the work life confuses. If we are changing our priorities on a regular basis, don't change your priorities on a regular basis. And trust me, life is very simple. You only have priorities. You need to juggle between your family life and your professional life. And the point I said in advanced financial management paper, do that trade-off, whether you want to get into rat race or you want to have a more balanced life. I am 45. I have now chosen to have a more balanced life. I have a job which pays me salary, and here I am talking in front of you on work-life balance. So I have chosen to be in the balance and peaceful domain. But if you want to be in rat race, perfectly fine. Just that don't complain, because that's a priority you have chosen for yourself. Habits, procrastination leads to penalties, professional and personal. And this is something which even I am learning. I'm very lazy in life. I'm like a last minute manager. Everything I will do on the last time. Even income tax return, I'll file on the 31st of July every year. Every year I file on the 31st. And I'll keep praying, gosh, this website doesn't stop working. I know the website might crash on 31st because many people are filing. Still, the human behavior doesn't change, which we have to. So again, the problem is with me. The problem is not with anybody else. Awareness, understanding exemptions. Exemptions is equal to knowing when to pause. Trust me, all of you, when you feel you need to pause, just pause. Go with the what I did on day 4. I just went to a place and I kind of spent time with myself. Just do for yourself, and trust me. I always say when you are spending time with yourself, Just lock or shut down your intellectual brain and just open up your creative brain. Just open up your creative brain. You want to sing a Shah Rukh Khan song, you want to behave like a Shah Rukh Khan, you want to behave like Kishore Kumar, do whatever you want, but just be the best version of yourself when you're spending time with yourself. And if you can do that, that's like a perfect pause you have given to yourself. And the next one is ownership. Plan your energies like tax planning, not firefighting. Tax planning is legitimate, right? If you get a chance, if you have phones in front of you, very quickly do Sachin Tendulkar filing his income tax return as an actor. Sachin Tendulkar filing his income tax return as a Bollywood actor. And I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but I'm telling you that's a dimension. He files his income tax return as an actor in along with as a sports person. And this is a task for you when you go back. Sachin Tendulkar filing his income tax return as an actor, not as a sports person. And the last one is simplicity. Avoid aggressive planning. Peace has better returns. As I said, I'm 45 now. Peace has better return. The moment I stopped rat race, trust me, automatically I saw the peace started coming towards me. I didn't go to the peace. So, and if you're 30 listening, you can have a balance, or you can actually be ruthless and you can chase career perfectly fine. But again, and I know I might be repeating this for the thousandth time, if you are choosing to opt for rat race, it's you who has chosen. You can't blame anybody else to make you suffer. It's your life and you have chosen that way. Next is our not my very favorite subject, and in our time, those was central excise and customs when we did our CAs,
Right.
and yes, and now it's called goods and services. Now, what's this goods and services? It's all process, and don't we say in life, trust the process. I mean, if you make the goods and services very process efficient, the GST can be very profound. But if the processes are not in place, it can really burn out quickly. So the objective says to acquire the ability to analyze and interpret the provisions of the law and recommend solutions. My goodness, even this subject is talking about solution. Guys, this is now too much. All the CA final subjects are telling us we need to offer solutions to everything. Now, if we are offering solutions to work, why can't we offer solutions to life? Isn't it amazing? Isn't that a question we need to ask ourselves? So let's talk about the chaos analysis of this GST. Confusion, multiple rates, compliance. Life also feels multi-layered. And thanks to 22nd of September, right? 22nd of September, where our Taiji, she did a press conference at 10 p.m. and she rationalized the GST rates. And I'm sure, and I don't practice GST, but I hear from the investor community, they are feeling much more relaxed now after the GST rationalization. And what I'm hearing on television channels, there are more rationalizations to follow. So the more and more you cut the clutter, cut the confusion, avoid too much of layering, life will become very simple. And work life will start becoming seamless. Habits, constant deadlines create burnouts. See, deadlines will be there. You have to work backwards. And those habits we have to inculcate. Awareness, mismatch alerts are like emotional warning. Any kind of mismatch, it's your personal life, professional life. If you don't balance, look, your professional life, personal life is like a balance sheet. It has to match. If it doesn't match, there is some problem. It's fine to have a problem, but then you need to recognize that there is a problem and then work towards a solution. I'm not putting I'm not putting a gun point on your head and saying you have a problem. No, I'm requesting you with folded hands. If you feel that you have a problem, or if you have not understood there is a problem, first understand and work towards it. That's only the work-life balance can help you. Awareness, ownership, process, discipline reduces stress. Any successful person in life, Preeti ma'am and everybody, just read the autobiography. They all have followed a disciplined life. Everybody has followed a disciplined life. Anybody who has said who has not followed a disciplined life, they have never been successful. Now, discipline can come from waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to clearing all your emails before you go to bed, or doing a meditation for 15 minutes, or going and doing a regular exercises, or being with your wife and children. Whatever is that discipline cannot be compromised, period. That discipline cannot be compromised. Any autobiography you read, any biography you read, discipline is one common thing that you will get. If you do the talk shows, When you say, I will give you one, when you have to answer in one word, and if I ask Preeti ma'am a question, ma'am, one word which will describe all autobiographies, biographies, and all successful people in life, I'm sure Preeti ma'am will say discipline. It's a life discipline which needs to happen. And if you do that, you actually don't need to attend this work life session. We will be sorted in life much, much, much better way. And input credits is valuable, but burnout has no credits. So mind you on that. So input credit is valuable, but burnout has no credit. And trust me, if you are not healthy, nobody cares whether you're healthy or not. But people care when you are wealthy or not, but nobody will care when you're healthy or not. So you take care of your health first. Everything else will fall in place. Everything else will fall in place. So GST teaches smooth process creates mental peace. Wow. And then we finally come to the last paper, integrated business solution. And what the objective says, this case study digest has been prepared by the faculty of Board of Studies. The objective is to digest and to provide case studies for practice to the students to enable them to strengthen their preparation in the subject in case students need any clarification, blah, 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 blah. I mean, isn't that a wonderful paper being added to our curriculum? Love the way, a lot of respect for my institute that they started adding practical case digest. That is what we need. Of course, just practicing on the nets doesn't make sense. You have to go and play out a one-day match to also really test the conditions. And so is your integrated business solution. So whatever we have studied, whatever we have gone through in last 1.5 hours, I request all of you to just go and practice it in front of your family, in front of your bosses. And I can tell you, life will become totally different. Will no more be the same after 5 p.m. India time on 19th of December 2025. So the five chaos of this is confusion. Everything is connected. Guys, everything is connected in life. Ignore one area, balance collapses. Family, relationship, bosses, we need to balance out. And that's a hard reality of life. We need to balance out everything. Habits, treating work, health, family as silos. I mean, that has to be a smooth transition. And that's what I say. If you really enjoy your work, your transition becomes smooth. People will only complain. And this is a discussion I was having with Preeti ma'am before the session. Whenever I go and give talks to corporates and universities, I see people complaining when they don't enjoy their work. You need to start enjoying the work. If you enjoy the work and the life becomes seamless. You don't have to transition. And even if you transition, this transition becomes very, very smooth. Third is the awareness. Life needs integrated thinking, not subject wise excellence. You really don't need subject wise excellence. It has to be a perfect thali, isn't it? It has to be a perfect thali, man. The thali needs to have rice, roti, paneer ki sabji, dal, rasam, everything. Then you enjoy a full meal with the family. By the way, don't forget to have that sweet after your dinner, or the pan or the Banarasi pan, because that pan expresses a gratitude towards life. Point is, and that's what the pan is given to God, and that symbolizes that you're actually expressing gratitude to God for everything that you have in life. That's what is called like ownership, aligned strategy, value, and emotions, and alignment over optimization. And that's what IBS teaches us, integration and not isolation. Bang on. That's it. 4:50. So around about 2 hours to go for the India South Africa final T20 in Ahmedabad. Final take. Three idiots. सब कोई bathtub में है क्या? I think I'm in a bathtub still in life यार. So CA teaches integration, not isolation. Balance बनाओ, सीखो, हंसो. All is well. Syllabus और जिंदगी दोनों में. Trust me, everything is well. And this is my credentials, ladies and gentlemen. I'm CA Dinesh Agrawal, a storyteller, content creator. I talk connecting Indian cuisine with management wisdom. I have my series called Life Ka User Manual, connecting Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and I'm a student of stand-up comedy. And you can find me on Instagram, which is Zindagi Ek Chai Ho Jaye. Zindagi Ek Chai Ho Jaye. And of course, on LinkedIn with CA Dinesh Food. I'm always available for giving a talk to your corporate houses, your companies, your organizations, in any seminars whatsoever. You can reach my team at this number +918910495090 for bookings and all. Thank you very much, and over to you, Preeti ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightful session. Can we take a queries and then proceed for the closing?
Sure.
If you're okay with it, because we have 10 minutes. 5 minutes we can take up the queries and then we can close.
Sure.
It's fine, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. So next query we have from Anuj. How can, okay, during peak periods such as audit, tax filing, and compliance deadlines, what practical strategies can CA adopt to prevent the burnout?
गुड क्वेश्चन अनुज भाई, वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन। और बोलते हैं ना कि कहानी घर घर की, मतलब अगर एकता कपूर ये सब क्वेश्चंस देखेगी ना, सीरीज बना देगी एक और, क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी सीजन 3। अनुज, गुड क्वेश्चन। वन ऑफ द थिंग्स आई हैव नोटिस इज डोंट अलाउ द गोल पोस्ट टू कीप इंक्रीजिंग when you start doing auditings and all. And tell me if my thought process is wrong. Many a times, when we do not do the design thinking properly of any assignment, when we say, when you start doing, risk based auditing, whenever the kind of samples we need to come through and all those things, we start increasing the goalpost, and this is what leads to, friction between team members. So allow that design thinking to happen properly. Design thinking, जब प्लानिंग करते हो ना, उसी टाइम सब सोच लो, और उससे डेविएट मत करना अनलेस देर आर सर्टन एक्सेप्शंस, एंड लाइफ विल फॉल इन प्लेस। माई एक्सपीरियंस, ओनली व्हेन यू कीप इंक्रीजिंग द गोल पोस्ट। और मेरा मैनेजर बोलेगा भाई तू ये काम कर, आफ्टर 10 मिनट अरे इसके साथ ये भी कर ले, उसके साथ वो भी कर ले। अब इट्स समथिंग लाइक हैपन, नो, इफ आई टेल माय वाइफ आज पनीर बना ले और रोटी बना ले, देन आई से अरे सैलेड भी काट लेना यार, अरे वो यार वो छाछ भी बना ले। सो इट्स लाइक इंक्रीजिंग द गोल पोस्ट, सो स्टिक टू दैट। Yeah, second question. Next question, ma'am.
Okay, next question is from Madhuri. Do you believe work-life balance differ for young CAs compared to the senior professionals? And how should expectation evolve across career stages?
Good question. You have, Madhvi ma'am, have you heard the word FOMO, fear of missing out? My view is just delete that word from the life and embrace a word called JOLO, joy of living out. ओ ठीक है भाई, कोई सीए क्या कर रहा है कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए। या आई मीन whoever is doing what, it's their prarabdha, their karma, allow them to manifest, focus on yourself. But your question is young CAs, yes, at least in my experience, it's a real generation, right? They want something very, very, very fast.
Very quickly.
And I've already given an answer to that question in my red ball versus white ball analogy. रेड बॉल इज लाइक दाल मखनी। हम लोग सब्जेक्ट में इतना घुसते थे ना कि वो सब्जेक्ट भी बोलता था भाई छोड़ दे अब मुझे, यू हैव अंडरस्टूड मी वेरी वेल। बट नाउ यू गो टू दिस चैट जीपीटी एंड ऑल, ट्राई टू फिगर आउट आंसर्स हियर एंड देयर, but connecting the dots is becoming very, very difficult. Now, that is a problem we are living in, and the solution to that problem is where we also, our behaviors have to change with them and try to understand. One thing I have seen with young chartered accountants, when you approach them, Madhvi ma'am, approach them with glass half full, they will start listening to you. Any conversation, if you approach with glass half full, you will see a different mindset from this. And I take this example from my daughter. When I shout at him, she'll say, Papa, reduce your voice. If I say something which is not good on terms of tone and sounds rude, she will not accept. But same thing when I tell her very politely or use the language of engaging. It's like me telling Preeti ma'am, don't do this. Example. Instead of that, if I say, Preeti ma'am, just check, are we doing this in the right way? Tell me if I need to work this better. I've seen my daughter behaving completely different and she becoming collaborative with me rather than my first stance. This is a change in Gen Z and young chartered accountants which we have to embrace. And Preeti ma'am, we have got a responsibility in our hand. Young chartered accountants, we have to nurture them. We have to really nurture all senior chartered accountants on this session today. We have to nurture all chartered accountants with lot of patience. It's a responsibility on all of us collectively. All right, next question, Preeti ma'am.
Okay, next question is from Ashish. How important is emotional and mental well-being in ensuring the long-term professional success for the chartered accountants?
That's the only important thing in life. So your question answer is that's the only important thing. किसी को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता मेरे भाई. What matters is your emotional strength and your emotional acumen. Just become rock solid. We have seen Virat Kohli's career, right? Amazing career, but he never got along with people because he was very aggressive. And now he has started doing meditation, and you see how mature he has become in his last two back-to-back centuries. The earlier Virat Kohli would shout out and he would create larger than aura life. The new Virat Kohli is much more patient, much more stable, much more grounded. So the only thing which matters to you is your emotional balance. And everything else will fall in place. everything else will fall in place. And there is a saying from a sports scientist in Australia, Preeti ma'am. When they hire you in their army, on Australian army, they hire people who have actually failed and bounced back in life. They don't hire people who have always been gold medalists in their lives because they have never tested failures. People who have really hit their rock bottom, have failed miserably and bounced back, they say they are the people to be in army in their life because they have faced rejections in their life, and those rejections have helped them build their emotional maturity. And this is coming from a sports scientist whom I've worked with in Australia, right? So this is an answer to your question. Next one.
Okay, the last one. Okay, the last one question is from Ravi. What role can organization, firms, professional bodies like ICARE play in promoting the healthier work-life culture among the CAs? They're conducting these webinars. Okay.
You stole the thunder. I was about to say that, Preeti ma'am. You took away my creativity. Of course, yeah, you're right. You're right, Preeti ma'am. I think that's a very good start. It's a very, very good start for the fact that our institute has started recognizing there is a problem. Look, first, as I said, no, first you need to understand the problem and recognize, then only you can solve. All this while, we never give priority to work life. We are giving priority to work life. So there is a problem we need to understand. But trust me, it's only we who have made this वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस एन इशू. यार मेरी बेटी आजकल वो खुद ही ऑर्डर कर देती है अमेजोन और फ्लिपकार्ट और स्विगी में, और हम लोग को तो 100 रुपए जाके 10 रुपए अपने पापा से मांगना पड़ता था. सो दैट एंगेजमेंट वॉज यूज टू बी डिफरेंट. या that emotional engagement with my mom and dad asking 10 rupees so that I can go and have kachori and aloo ki sabzi outside. Now she orders herself and the engagement is completely reducing. So work life balance will only come when you really start talking to one yourself, and second, start talking to the family. Third, spending quality time in office. And I said, it's not how long you spend time, how present you are when you are having a conversation with yourself, with family, and at work.
Okay, we are, I guess, end up with the questions. No more questions now. So thank you so much, sir, for your powerful and thought-provoking session, a heart-touching session, I can say that. Now, I like to hand over the session to ma'am, Priyavada ma'am, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dinesh ji. Thank you, Preeti ji, for such a wonderful session. But yes, now I have a question for both of you. A small question for both of you. Who deserves the spotlight, work or life?
You want to go first, Preeti ma'am?
No problem, sir. You can go first.
I would say both are, both are one word. So that's what I want to conclude this session. Work and life are not two distinct words. They are one word. It's just that we have to be seamless between work and life and have it as one word, and the life problem gets sorted.
True one. There is no life without work, and there is no work without life. So both goes side by side, and we chartered accountants are, I guess, well versed, and we're well versed to manage both the things at side by side, because we have long working hours also, we have family also, we have committee members also who are spending all their day, their years of life for social work, and they are balancing their life well. They are balancing their life, their offices, their social life, everything at same point of time. So we have many examples in front of us. So they depict us that both go side by side, and we have to manage. And as sir said, priorities matters. When we love something, we cut out time for that. We always squeeze time for the things we love for. But most of the time we have excuses for the things that we don't love for. As I said, we don't have time for reading right now, we can say that. But yes, we devote time for the web series, we devote time for the OTTs, we do devote time for the movies, outings, we devote time for it because we love for it. So things we love, we devote time for it. And if you love your life, if you want to live your life, we'll devote time for it. But you have to manage it. We have to squeeze some time from the work, give it to life, then give it to life and dive into work. We have to balance all the things. So obviously it goes hand by hand, and nothing is in the spotlight. Both are managing their life well.
And that's what my tagline says of Instagram ID, Zindagi ek chai ho jaye. If you do that, you will get answers to all the questions yourself. You don't need to attend You don't need to listen to Dinesh Agarwal or anybody. Life will give you all the answers. All right, once more, Zindagi Ek Chai Ho Jaye. Thanks to Preeti ma'am. Thanks to Priya ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Dinesh ji. Thank you, Preeti ma'am. See, this was what is expected. Actually, yes, we want to encourage our chartered accountants to focus on both the thing, professional excellence along with personal well-being. Both are equally important at this stage. Thank you so much for both of you for such a meaningful session, and we have a very good wide participation out there. I would request everyone to please spare your time to fill the small feedback form so that we can come up with such more sessions. This was a really wonderful session. Thank you, Dinesh ji, for devoting time for us. We'll keep on connecting with you again and again. As I can see, there was lot of audience engagement. You can analyze from the questions also. So this way, the session goes really well. Thank you, Preeti ji, for such a kind moderation and giving your inputs, which gels perfectly well with our committee's objective. So please keep on viewing our webinars, which are usually on Fridays, Thursdays, or Fridays, and keep joining. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.